This all went down a couple of years back, right before summer started. It was the very last day of 8th grade at Maplewood Middle School. You can picture it. Chaotic, noisy, kids running through the hallways like they'd been released from prison. Teachers looked exhausted but relieved. Everyone was signing each other's yearbooks, filling them with cheesy jokes, doodles, and inside references only we would understand. My school wasn't small. Maplewood had over 1,000 students, and because of that, the teachers had to come up with a system. They collected our yearbooks, shuffled them around classrooms, and passed them to other students to sign. In theory, it made sure everyone got a chance to write something. In reality, it meant anyone could scribble in anyone's book without being stopped. And yeah, some kids use that as an excuse to write mean things. By the end of the day, I got my yearbook back. I was flipping through, laughing at all the dumb notes from my friends, when my eyes landed on something that didn't make sense. Scrawled under the picture of a kid I didn't recognize was a name, Ethan Rowe III, and beneath it, in shaky black ink, the message, HAGS, I'll be seeing you again. HAGS. Have a great summer. Pretty standard, but paired with, I'll be seeing you again, that didn't feel like a goodbye. It felt like a warning. The weirdest part was that I had never even met this kid. I didn't know Ethan. Didn't remember him from class, lunch, gym, nothing. He was a total blank. I told myself it was just some mix-up. Or maybe he was trying to mess with me. But the truth is, something about it unsettled me, more than I wanted to admit. That night, I had 3 of my best friends over for a sleepover in the basement, Chris, Daniel, and Malik. We were 14, wired on Doritos and soda, trash-talking each other over rounds of Call of Duty. My parents were asleep 2 floors up, so as long as we kept the noise semi-contained, we were free to act stupid all night. It was close to 2 a.m. when it happened. A knock echoed from the basement storm door. All 4 of us froze. Nobody uses that door. If you wanted to get into our house, you'd go to the front porch. The basement door led to a tiny concrete patio out back, half hidden by hedges. The only way you'd knock there is if you knew people were in the basement. The knock came again, sharp, even, almost patterned. We sat in silence, staring at each other. Then Malik, being Malik, yelled out, "Who's there?" I wanted to punch him. For a long moment, there was nothing, just silence. Then a voice answered, "Come around to the back door." The voice was high-pitched, cheerful, way too cheerful. It was definitely a teenager's voice, not an adult trying to disguise themselves. But that didn't make it better. Chris grinned. "Dude, maybe it's one of the guys from school pulling a prank." Daniel agreed. They wanted to go check. I wanted to ignore it. But when you're outnumbered by 3 hyped-up friends, you don't get much choice. We crept upstairs. The kitchen was dark, except for the faint glow of the backyard light spilling through the glass panes of the back door. And there, just barely visible, stood a figure. I got closer, my heart pounding. It was him, Ethan Rowe III, the same boy whose name was in my yearbook. He was standing there like he'd been waiting, his head tilted slightly, his lips pulled into a faint, unnatural smile. Chris reached for the door handle, but I shoved his arm away. "Don't," I whispered. "I know who that is." I explained about the yearbook entry. For the first time, I saw the excitement drain from their faces. Meanwhile, Ethan lifted his hand in a slow wave, like he was greeting an old friend. Then he motioned toward the side of the house, like he wanted me to come to the window. Against every instinct I had, I cracked the kitchen window open an inch. "Hey," I said cautiously. "I know you." From the yearbook, his smile widened. His voice was calm, almost soothing. "Oh, So you got my message." He introduced himself again. Ethan Rowe III, like it was something to be proud of. Then he said the words that made my skin crawl. "I've been watching you for a long time. We could have been great friends." My stomach turned. I forced myself to nod, pretending to agree, hoping it would keep him calm. But then I asked, "How did you know where I live?" The smile vanished. His face went blank. He just stared at me, his eyes dark and unblinking. Daniel, trying to act tough, shouted, "You're a creepy stalker, dude. Get lost." That was the moment everything shifted. Ethan's expression twisted, like a mask had been ripped off. His friendly tone melted into raw hatred. He started screaming, spitting out the most vile things. He said he hated my friends, said we should all die. Then he started mentioning personal stuff, things he shouldn't have known. He said my ex's name. He talked about my family. And then he lunged at the window. He slammed his fists against the glass so hard the frame shook. His nails scraped down the pane as he tried to pry it open, snarling, growling, like an animal. We shoved it shut and locked it. He kept pounding, screaming words I'll never forget. "You can't hide from me. I'll see you again." The commotion woke my parents. They came rushing downstairs. The second they appeared, Ethan bolted. My dad sprinted after him, barefoot in his boxers, but he came back minutes later, breathless. Ethan was gone. Strangely, my parents didn't call the cops. They figured it was a school matter. The next morning, they called the administration. That's when we learned the truth. Ethan Rowe had been expelled weeks earlier. He wasn't supposed to be on campus at all. The only reason his picture was in the yearbook was because it had gone to print before the expulsion, which meant he had deliberately snuck back into the school on the last day just to sign my book. The school tried to track him down, but it was like he'd vanished. His records stopped existing. No address, no phone number, no parents to contact. It was like he'd been erased. And yet, he'd found me. He knew where I lived. Even now, years later, that yearbook sits on my shelf. Ethan's name is still there, scrawled in black ink. Every time I see it, I hear his voice in my head. "I'll be seeing you again." And deep down, I know he meant it. More nightmares are waiting. Hit subscribe so you don't miss them.